Hello everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Mic. Oh my goodness. Started out with 8 followers, I think, before 2026. And now we're here, new year. First video was this lovely interview with the great Nice from the channel Nice Name, and we're already at 25 followers. So I wanted to make this video a little bit as an introduction to who I am, what this channel is about, as well as kind of outlining our plans for 2025. So hi, I'm Owen, and I'm the host and creator of The Quantum Mic, the channel that you're currently watching this video on. What is The Quantum Mic about? Well, for The Quantum Mic, this channel is kind of a science communication based channel. I am a physicist at trade. I'm currently working on my PhD in experimental particle physics, and I have worked on a few research projects before. What I want to sort of focus this channel on is both physics-related science content, but also bringing in people who are experts in scientific fields to talk about their work and research so people can kind of get an understanding of what people involved with science are like and what they do. I have done previous interviews with Nobel Prize winners, with people who work on the administrative side of running telescopes, to people who work in defense, who have backgrounds in science. So that's kind of what this channel covers. So what are we going to be covering in the new year? Well, if you were following before 2026, or you go looking back at the channel's history, I haven't published a lot of videos. A number of those have been titled Quantum Mic Classics. These are interviews that I ran back during the COVID pandemic when I was in my undergrad, and I had the proto version of this channel. That was where it was in a podcast format, and I interviewed mostly people involved with physics-related things. They are really good, and I would highly recommend that you watch them, but they are old and they weren't new. During 2025, I think I only made 3 new videos, and I would say most of them were not up to the standard that I would like to make content in the new year. So the New Year's resolution is essentially for this channel to produce more videos more frequently, as well as producing better level content. The objective for 2025 is going to be as follows. I want to every month release about 2 videos. This may bump up to 3 or down to 1 depending on how busy and available I am, and also in terms of inspiration and what I'm able to kind of manage to produce. I'm a PhD student. This takes up a lot of my time and is essentially my job. So this is sort of a secondary thing currently. With that in mind, I want to also bring in more interviewers, people for me to interview. I have done this before. People who I know and who have listened to this have constantly said that the interviews are the best sort of thing that I have ever produced. And I really enjoy talking to people about both what they know about and what they have expertise in. And it's a great way for people who aren't in science to kind of get an idea of what the scientific world is like, or for the people who are interested in being in science. For example, you're an undergrad and you're not sure if you want to do a master's. You can kind of get an idea of what people are doing in science. This can be sort of both those who are in academia, doing research, doing grad school, but also giving you an idea of other avenues that you can go down. You don't necessarily need to become a professor. So that's kind of what I like to cover, and I want to prioritize that. However, it is really hard to get interviews. Part of the reason why I stopped the Quantum Mic podcast back in my undergrad, before I graduated and started up grad school. So I'm going to try to get some interviews on. Thankfully, I know some other grad students who are hopefully willing to give me some of their time. We'll see, as well as some professors. But I'm hoping to get some people on. And then in the meantime, there's going to be a second video every month that will not be interview-based. Those will vary. I want to try a few things. I want to try doing some explaining scientific topics. Of course, I am a physics person, so these are going to really kind of be physics-centric. Maybe not all physics-centric. We'll see how things go. But I want to talk about either physics topics, or I want to potentially address science-related things. So either there might be videos, for example, one that I'm thinking of doing is talking about the physics behind skating. I live here in Canada. There is a lot of ice right now. It is January. So potentially I'd like to do one of those videos, but I may also try to do some videos where we pull up a scientific paper that's come out recently on the archives. And for those who don't know, the archives, or as I like to call them, the X-Archives, are this great website that has a bunch of papers pre-publication that get put up on there. So I would pull some of those papers, and potentially we would go through the paper and kind of talk about it and simplify it. Mind you, this is limited to my understanding of scientific topics, so the amount of range for some of these things may be more focused on particle physics. If that interests you, that's great. If you're interested in me covering other topics, though, I'm happy to kind of get some suggestions, because I do have a range of knowledge of things outside of physics as well. I have a lot of interests. I wanted to maybe do some videos on sort of the history of physics or the history of science in general, but those are very ambitious, and so we will see if I'm able to maybe tackle those. But to summarize, I want to do 2 episodes a month. There'll be an interview episode, and then there'll be another episode on another topic, probably physics or science-based. Rest of January might be a little bit quiet. We'll see if I am able to set up another video to come out, but we've already had the first video, which was my interview with Nice, which brought in 25 subscribers. Well, they didn't bring in 25 subscribers, but as of looking at my numbers now, we're at 25 subscribers, which is way more than I expected to see in a long time. As well as that video has had over 1,000 views, which is my most viewed video. So I'd like to thank everyone very much, and of course thank Nice for taking the time to let me interview him and talk to him about science communication and geology and just sort of the work that he does using Minecraft to educate people. It was an amazing video to produce. Another thing that we might cover is I might talk about CERN or the LHC. I do work on an analysis for Atlas, and I'll hopefully be going back to Geneva to do some work at CERN over the summer, so maybe we'll be able to do something out of that. Everything's kind of up in the air. Big thing is scheduling-wise, 2 episodes a month, maybe 3, maybe 1, depending on workload. January will potentially be quiet. If you are a science communicator, a scientist, have some background in science and are trying something that isn't wholly science-related currently for work, I would be interested to potentially talk to you. So if this is something that you'd be interested in being interviewed, sort of similar to how I interviewed Nice, or I've interviewed people in the previous Quantum Mike Classic videos, you can go back and listen to those, and if it is of interest to you, reach out to me, leave a comment, send an email. I think there's an email link on the channel, and potentially we can have you on for an interview. And if you have any topics you want to hear me cover, leave them down in the description. I would really appreciate it. I don't exactly have everything planned or prepped for the new year. Didn't expect things to kind of start off so well and kind of kick my butt into gear and kind of get me inspired to go at things at a higher rate than I was originally planning coming into the year. But I feel hopefully things can go very well and this channel can kind of keep growing and getting along. We'll kind of find out what works for me and works for the channel, and then start to maybe prioritize those sorts of videos. Yeah. So with that, if you like the Quantum Mike, if you like me, if you're interested in physics or science communication, I recommend you subscribe. It should be down somewhere. Click the bell, give a like, give a comment, promote the video to the algorithm so that more people see it. And hopefully this channel will be able to grow from, let's say, the goal currently is going to be by the end of the year, see if we can get up to 100 subscribers. That would be great. I'll need to come up with something special if we do that. But yeah, thank you again, and I'll see you next time on The Quantum Mike. Cheers, everyone.